What were you hearing from those members of the Amish community when you were updating them about the legalistic hurdles you're going through?
Well, I mean, I can't get into the conversations between the Amish. Obviously, it's lawyer-client privilege.
Gotcha.
But we have a lot of happy clients, and they're grateful for the support they've received from the larger community. So, it's only because we do have support from our donors that we're able to help the Amish. And we have a bunch of other families we're trying to help. So, going out there and interacting them, I can tell you is a very unusual situation, because normally you have clients come in, or you can email, you can phone, but we have to drive out, and then we have to put the documents in front of them. We have to explain it to them in terms they can understand.
Right.
They're intelligent people, but they just don't have the concepts that we all have, because we're used to the modern legal system and electronics, etc.
In the department of how low can the Justin Trudeau Liberals go, well, the answer is this. The federal government is currently on a jihad to both persecute and prosecute the Amish people. Why? Well, from time to time, the Canadian Amish go back and forth to the United States to visit their American Amish counterparts. 'Twas ever thus, but then the COVID-19 pandemic hit a few years back, and everything changed, which is to say, every time Canadian Amish families crossed the border back into Canada from the US, they would be hammered with a $6,000 fine. That's because they did not have the ArriveCan app on their cell phones. And for good reason. The Amish don't have cell phones. They don't even have landlines. An app is a completely alien concept for a group of people who go out of their way to shun technology. I mean, members of the Amish community won't even come on camera for interviews. The irony is both profound and perverse. Some 2 centuries ago, the Amish immigrated to Ontario before the province was even known as Ontario. The Amish were fleeing religious persecution in Europe. But in 21st century Canada, lorded over by Justin Trudeau, the Amish are once again being persecuted and being handed an economic death sentence in the process. In any event, here's the skinny. Every Amish man, woman, and child who crossed the border during the ArriveCan period were dinged with a $6,000 ticket. The final tally is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, all because the Amish did not and could not use the so-called ArriveCan app, which incidentally proved to be absolutely useless in doing anything tangible to protect Canadians from COVID-19 in the first place. But even with COVID in the rearview mirror, the federal government continues to play hardball with the Amish. Recently, an Amish farmer went to the bank to get a loan to buy some livestock. Par for the course, he offered his property as security for the loan. Can you imagine his shock when the banker told the Amish farmer, that is, that the federal government had put a lien on his property, a lien that would remain until the ArriveCan fines were paid off in full. Much to their chagrin, other Amish farmers found themselves in the exact same boat, that their assets had also been frozen. Despicable. But Rebel News is fighting back along with the Democracy Fund. The Democracy Fund is fighting for the Amish in a court of law, whereas Rebel News, well, we're fighting for the Amish in the court of public opinion. Here is my kind of passport, folks. Look at this beauty. Introducing a new special edition Freedom Passport. What if the greatest teacher of all time framed his message as a constitution for a kingdom of love, faith, and freedom? Inspired by Jesus' teachings in the Sermon on the Mount, this special edition Freedom Passport captures the foundational truths of love and freedom for all. It's a powerful reminder of Jesus' call to love one another that you can carry with you every day. Join the movement, share the truth, and spread the love with your family and friends.
Get your Freedom Passport today at freedompassport.ca. That's freedompassport.ca. All orders in North America come with free shipping and a complimentary song with each purchase.
And in this respect, I have some very good news to report. My guest today is Mark Joseph, a lawyer with the Democracy Fund. Mark has been working tirelessly on this file, and his due diligence has paid dividends. And joining me right now to bring us up to date on the Amish file is Mark Joseph with the Democracy Fund. Mark, thank you so much for making time to join me here in the studio. What do you have for us in terms of some much needed good news for this Amish community?
Well, thanks for having me, David. I can let everyone know that we've collected over, I think, 20 Amish clients, and we've gone through the first 5. They've had their tickets reopened. We've announced that before, but I can let everyone know that has happened. So that puts us at the starting line.
And Mark, if I can ask you about the significance of that, because, with the passage of time, not that I'm trying to sound like Kamala Harris here, but this goes back years. So this is not something I would imagine that is easy peasy to do, is it?
Well, we know these tickets are old. Our position is they only recently learned that they were convicted. They received impartial or partial information. So the tickets are old, and that's new. We haven't seen case law on that issue before. So this is kind of new ground for us, I think, for most courts. But we've had some success so far, so we're kind of just moving forward on that basis.
Okay, so the ball is in play, and which is a great thing. We've got more than 20 families have signed on. And you told me off camera, some of the liens have already been removed. This is terrific. What's the story there?
Right. So as I said, we're at the starting line. The clients that we've been having moved through the courts have received their notices of trial. So that's good. And because the tickets have been vacated, the liens have been removed, which is excellent because a lot of these families were facing problems with credit, and they couldn't get loans, they couldn't pass on their property. So because of the liens registered against their property, so those liens have been removed. So obviously there's other clients who still have liens, but for these clients that we've had their tickets reopened, those liens have been vacated.
That is fantastic. And Mark, I must ask you, I wish I could have been there that day, but I was predisposed. You drove several hours to Amish country to talk to the Amish people. One of our challenges, of course, is they shun technology to such a degree they won't even come on camera, even though they have a lot of skin in the game. What were you hearing from those members of the Amish community when you were updating them about the legalistic hurdles you're going through?
Well, I can't get into the conversations between the Amish. Obviously, it's lawyer-client privilege.
Gotcha.
But we have a lot of happy clients, and they're grateful for the support they've received from the larger community. So it's only because we do have support from our donors that we're able to help the Amish. And we have a bunch of other families we're trying to help. So, going out there and interacting them, I can tell you is a very unusual situation, because normally you have clients come in, or you can email, you can phone, but we have to drive out, and then we have to put the documents in front of them. We have to explain it to them in terms they can understand.
Right.
They're intelligent people, but they just don't have the concepts that we all have, because we're used to the modern legal system and electronics, etc. So that's been unusual for us as lawyers.
Yeah, what a learning curve. Mark, I think you've done tremendous work in a relatively short period of time. I think the big question now is, where do we go from here?
Well, we're going to work through the rest of the clients. We have to put together reopening applications and affidavits. We have to submit it for the court. For the clients that we've had some success with, we then have to request disclosure. We have to get in contact with the Crown. We did receive notices of trial. So now we've got trial dates for these early set of clients, which is good, because that puts us back in the game. And then hopefully, if we get in touch with the Crown who's reasonable, we can make some arguments that these tickets should be withdrawn or stayed. So.
If you want to stand up to the tyranny of the Justin Trudeau Liberals, please go to AmishReports.com. That's AmishReports.com. If you're able to, please make a donation in our ongoing quest for justice. My thanks in advance.